What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with a crazy three doubleheader edition of MLB Lindy Slings, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Today was just frustrating all the way around, mainly because you never got any clarity about weather. I cannot believe that they're playing baseball in Cincinnati based on the radar that I'm looking at. But here they go trying to play this one. And just seems like any of those slates where it all ends up herky-jerky and nothing really pans out. Plus, got like 35 cents of CLV from Tyler Freeman. He ends up leading off and hits a double right out of the gate. So hopefully I can still get a single from him later in the game. There's 8 innings to go, but sometimes that's the way it goes. Ryan Yarbrough gets pulled before 70 pitches for the Yankees, so don't even get a chance to try to go for 5 strikeouts there. Just pain and suffering in the strikeout department the last 2 days. But overall, feel good about the process there over a long-term sample size where we have been rocking. So you take some bad with the good and you try to win more than you lose. That's always the name of this game, and that's what I can do over any long-term sample size. But yeah, today, Wednesday, super frustrating. Had a lot of bets that I wanted to make that I just couldn't with some of the pending weather. And then a lot of them, like the White Sox bet, that's going to have no implications tomorrow. You can't just one-for-one swap it into it because completely different hitting environment, and you might get a mismatch of pitchers. So I'll cover the 3 doubleheaders right from the get-go. All going to be leans. Try to do the best that I can there with the Chicago spots. Also explain the Pittsburgh-Detroit one where I guarantee you we're not going to get the same line that we got for Detroit, looking at some of that stuff from the night before. So yeah, I'm going to just try to rock with it. Let's roll with the punches, everybody. Lindy 5, that's where you can jump into the Discord. Overall, a really great community chatting every single day in there, trying to get you updated, getting pick'em cards going as well as all of the bets, plus all the exchanges right now. No Vig Profit X. So much great opportunity to make some money, and I can help you do that in that premium Discord. Just $5 to join for a week. But producer Jacob, he's ready to rock. I'm ready to roll. We got 18 games to be, well, no, 17 games to look at. There were 14. Boston, Seattle, they're the only 2 not playing on Thursday. They get to travel and enjoy that. Wild schedule this week. Let's get to the picks. All right, not many plays night before, but there are so many things that I'm interested in betting. I just can't tell you exactly how they're going to be stacking it up and matching it up here in this specific spot. So roll with me here as I break down all of the doubleheaders in succession. I missed that show already. Pittsburgh taking on Detroit. I think we get Heaney Skubal, and I think we get Paul Skeens against God knows who, maybe the Gabriel Moreno combination. So that one I'm especially worried about with that Detroit -1.5 over there, mainly because Paul Skeens, it's just simply the run support you have for Pittsburgh. I think you're getting a wonky spot. That was supposed to be, that's actually my fault, producer Jacob. That's Detroit +1.5 there against Skeens, but that's neither here nor there. The first one is the main one to focus on. Tariq Skubal. You have Detroit, tons of you have a great opportunity with that ballpark, spacious ballpark, to have doubles, triples, things of that nature. But Tariq Skubal, he's definitely one of those dudes, or Skubal, you could say faster. Eric, probably an easier way of doing it too. I know I get caught up on his name from time to time, but overall, he's the best pitcher in baseball. I think there is respect that should be put on that name. I will do the best that I possibly can going forward, but no doubt about it, I would be looking at him on a run line against Andrew Heaney, as the rest of the universe should be too. That was something I was hoping for to maybe bet later on today as the number was kind of adjusting, getting flatlined, and doubt we're going to get the same opportunity after that rain out. But pay attention to the Paul Skeens one because I still think Detroit's going to be a little bit undervalued, and that's something that I want to be paying attention to. Cardinals, White Sox. I think we get the same matchup that we were looking at right from the get-go, but Fetty Burke, probably not going to be that. I think you've got to be looking at things kind of changing it up. You get Sonny Gray. Now, if Gray ends up being the pitcher instead of Eric Fetty, who's just awful, 7+ strikeouts against the White Sox, even the whiteouts, that would be fantastic. Although they kind of did that to themselves last season. But St. Louis -1.5 on the next one. We've got McGreevy potentially going for St. Louis against Vassell. Now, Mike Vassell, no strikeout stuff, no real arsenal. Michael McGreevy, he's somebody that is the number 10 Cardinals prospect. He's got really good command so far in his big league career, and something that, we have all of 2 start sample size to look at, but 1 walk through those 2 starts and nearly 6 innings in each of those, 11 2/3 total in 2 starts. I think he's an interesting back on the run line here, somebody who can eat up some innings against a piss poor White Sox team. As for Milwaukee and the Cubbies here, The Miss 5. Why do I call it the Miss? Well, because, Mysliowski, I mean, it's just a mouthful to throw out there for the people. But obviously, both Chicago games, and there's weather again for tomorrow, so this should be entertaining to pay attention to. But I think we get him up against Tyon for the second time around for this one. And then the next game, you're looking at just another mismatch of guys. You have no Cubby starter that could even potentially be in order for it. So probably going to call somebody up from the Iowa Cubs, or you get that start from Drew Pomeranz into whomever else, and you have a strict bullpen game for that second one. Colin Ray could probably go out and throw the ball around a little bit. But I want to focus on the Milwaukee Brewers side because I think both sides of it, you could get a watered-down Cubs lineup for one of the two outings. Now, you want Swanson, Suzuki, and PCA in, all three of them, for both of these outings if you're going to be betting overs on strikeouts, purely because they're the three guys north of the 24% K rate, and everybody else sub 22%. Matt Shaw, Ian Happ, Justin Turner, if he ends up in the lineup for one, is a disaster, as opposed to like a Swanson piece because they can move that around and make it work, DH him, something of that nature. Nico Horner, Kyle Tucker, Carson Kelly. Carson Kelly only going to catch one of the two games. Reese McGuire, I would presume, is going to catch the other one. There's so many edges from a prop perspective, so little time. So all three doubleheaders, we got that covered. Sounds great. If you want to get the plays from them, the exact plays of what's going to happen, Lindy 5 is where you can do that. $5 for your first week. You head to the link below. Take advantage of it. Would love to have you there. Less than $1 a day. Plus, Ken, 3 doubleheaders. I guarantee you there are going to be massive prop edges based on how those lineups roll out. I'm always reacting to them, whether it's Alex Call, Tyler Freeman in the Washington-Colorado series from both of them. I'm going to do the same in these doubleheaders because I think something is going to show up wonky that we want to react to. Alrighty, y'all. Let's get to the other lean, shall we? Walking our way downtown, walking fast, faces passing them homebound. I can't believe they're playing baseball in Cincinnati today, and that over could end up being toasty toast if it plays 6 innings and they end up having to call it because they've got to play that game fast. The Minnesota money line, I mean, maybe just save it up for a doubleheader, but it doesn't look great weather-wise again here. So Minnesota money line, I have no idea what we're getting from Chris Paddock, Nick Martinez. I just know that in that pitching mismatch, I do think Paddock is actually the better of the two. The Twins, top to bottom, against a righty that's not very good in Nick Martinez. I feel all right with the Minnesota money line, but kind of want to see exactly what happens tonight, Wednesday night, before I invest any money. The Angels plus 1.5. You were getting a huge line with Anderson versus Rodon, but I think the Anderson piece is enough. I don't feel as confident that Kyle Hendricks can show up the way that, I mean, that was obviously a pretty fun call there to get the Angels to win that one outright. We got plus 1.5 at plus money. Well, we're getting plus 1.5 at plus 105 again. I just don't feel like investing in it as much as the last time around because it's lefty and Tyler Anderson, and you have Goldie. You have lefties who are still functional against the top, or like the Grishams of the world. It's Ben Rice, who's catching today. That's next level. Maybe he gets a day off if he's sore. May I suggest the cold tub tomorrow? Anyway, we've got the Angels plus 1.5 here, just a lean for now. Carlos Rodon has been nails, 201 expected batting average, and this is just a 68 WRC plus for the Angels against lefty pitching on this season. As for, as my wife calls me, Ryan McMahon, I love my wife, home run. He ends up getting the day off here on Wednesday. Maybe he has a pinch hit appearance, but you got him and Hunter Goodman with a day off. Wild. I mean, they're not playing for anything, and obviously their health matters more than anything else going forward, so pay close attention. Ryan McMahon, home run. Going to look really good against Trevor Williams. Mr. Williams is not very good at the pitching of the baseballs. We got KC money line. I was just kind of like floundering looking for bets here because there was just nothing to bet on with all of the weather going on everywhere. Didn't nearly as much props as what I would want to have on a day like today, especially 15 games throughout the day. Hopefully tomorrow with 17 games. I keep adding one because Boston, Seattle not playing. Michael Waka Waka, 263 expected batting average, 17.9% K rate. Almost feel, though, as though he's going to be undervalued considering some of the goobers, whether it's Kumar Rocker. I'm off my rocker here today. It is what it is. Lots of brutal options for them on the Texas side. Don't know what we end up getting from them. As for the rest of our boarding walk, the Webbs play, this has kind of been like a routine thing that's popping for me. Most teams don't let a guy through like a fourth time through the lineup ever, but Logan Webb is a little bit of an outlier with that sinker ball. It's not like you're going to learn anything new about what Logan Webb's going to do. He's going to just hug the zone down. He's going to continually try to induce as many ground balls as possible. And Cleveland against righties, not very pretty with Kyle Manzardo and company up there. They do have enough power, but McCovey Cove out right field, still a long ways away. So I feel good about Logan Webb's run prevention here. 18.5 outs is interesting. Want to see the line tomorrow, though, because those are getting like a little juice crazy at times. Kyle Schwarber, 0 for 5. That was literally the Antichrist work that he ended up putting in today. Well done, sir. Pick 6, just destroyed. But Kyle Schwarber up against the Marlins. Pay very close attention. I think this might be the buyback. You might get a buyback. It's a tough ballpark. Obviously, he's not enjoying his time in Miami right now. But you're getting an awesome opportunity against this bullpen that walks and doesn't really hit the zone ever, leave a couple of mistakes out over the plate. And that's kind of what Edward Cabrera does, the starter here, on his own. 25% K rate, but a 10% walk rate, 44.3% hard hit. Enough meat on that bone if you're getting close to that plus 320 type number on Schwarber to go deep. So pay attention to those. Oh yeah, more leans, because there's just infinity of them today. Morton, 5+ Ks, 3+ earned runs. Terrible ballpark here, but Charlie Morton's strikeout stuff has really spiked of late. He's starting to find a little something in the arsenal. Not enough where I probably want to bet him, but I want him on your radar for the future. 23.4% K rate. Yeah, it's just such a tough spot here with Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda, Brandon Lowe, Brandon Lau, Josh Lowe, opposite way of saying their names there. And San Diego, +1.5 against the Dodgers. You could be getting like +2.5 potentially here with Bergert versus Yamamoto. But Yamamoto, we've seen a couple of issues in the armor there lately. I don't know if I buy into it entirely. A couple of grand salamis like Casey Schmidt second inning. You get some fluke stuff. That was a crazy zone that they ended up having for him there. Pay attention. I think San Diego, anytime you're getting divisional foe here at like plus money for the road team, and they get the 9th inning at bat to try to square it up and know what they need to do, feel pretty good about that one, getting the plus sign in front of it. So lots to cover there in the lean section. Just a few likes coming your way. Promise we'll have more in the premium Discord, but Portfolio Review will certainly have tons of plays for you. It's the best market-based betting tool in the entire industry. You go to oddshopper.com or you download the OddsShopper app. You use promo code Lindy1, and this will be your last day. Yes, your last day to get 2 weeks free with Portfolio EV. That's right. Lindy1, only operational for 1 more day. So if you've been thinking about it, if you've been seeing this show and you want to try it out, now is the time, friends. Check it out, Lindy1 at the link below in the video description box. Alrighty, y'all, to the plays we go. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Also check out the Discord. Would love to have you guys there because then you can ask me questions, which I think is more valuable sometimes than the plays themselves. But the plays have been valuable despite what, I don't know. There's just been some crazy bots that have shown up in the description box lately. I try not to care. I really, really do. I really do. But when it's like inaccurate, it just pisses me off. But anyway, Arizona, they're getting a 1.5 against Toronto. That's not going to be what we focus on here. This is actually the only hitter prop that I really want to highlight, star circle whatsoever. And it's a guy who batted second against a lefty today. Addison Barger is here to stay, friends. 51.7% hard hit, 286 expected batting average, 518 expected slugging. Despite what we've seen, some low profile in contact from time to time, the launch angle looks so much better. 13.3 degree launch angle. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but his barrels are up from last year, 8.7% barrel percentage to 13.2%. In fact, fewer pitches he's seen, and he has 3 more barrels than he had all of last year. 51.7% hard hit. That's over 10% higher than last season, 38.3%. This is a completely revamped hitter. And that makes me excited because this is where you can take advantage of the sample sizes. And Ryan Nelson, he's awful. 279 expected batting average, 91 mile per hour exit velocity off the bat. But what I really like is he's got the 1.14 whip. That's an outlier. He's got the 4.14 ERA, which is 3 points lower than his expected ERA. And a 340 xWOBA is the highest of his career since 2022 it was. So lots of ways where we can invest against Ryan Nelson, but I think Addison Barger is just going to be 2-3 hole the rest of the way home. Vlad probably moves back up to the 2 hole against a righty in Ryan Nelson, but not very impressed by the Arizona bullpen, especially, watching Miller disintegrate in that 9th inning, but we needed it to get that over. That was useful, over 8.5. How about Addison Barger for 2+ bases plus money here against Ryan Nelson? I think that sounds pretty good. Going in the lean light category purely because I haven't bet it yet. It's not available. They're currently playing the tail end of their baseball game right now. It is 5-1 there in the bottom of the seventh. But Barker, 2+ bases, high on my priority list for tomorrow. Next up on our boarding walk, don't mind me just adjusting my camera because my computer keeps moving and everything keeps moving. Mets taking on Atlanta. And now we have the 2 square plays that we're kind of looking at. And I don't understand this line, to be honest. -130. I get the Clay Holmes. One's got Grant Holmes, one's got Clay Holmes. So you kind of get caught up when they're playing each other here. You also have Luis Angel Acuna and Ronald Acuna, although I don't think people are confusing the two of them. But Clay Holmes is probably the weakest of these front-end starters. It's kind of weird to say considering there's a number of other guys that I thought, Griffin Canning has talent, but having a pretty darn good year. The fastball on Clay Holmes is ridiculous. 3.91 expected ERA next to a 2.87 ERA. Pretty ridiculous. But I think negative regression is coming for him, for David Peterson, for a number of these guys. And now is the time that we get to invest in something somehow with Spencer Strider, where we finally saw it, friends. The last start is going to be what we're getting from Spencer Strider. The closest he'd look, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starts previous to it. His 6th start against the Colorado Rockies. Do I expect 13 strikeouts, just 3 hits? No, these are not things I expect, but the velocity was back. That is what I cared about the most. I went through the entire data, only 87 pitches. Didn't even have to pitch all that much, but the 4-seamer threw it 50 times, and we got up to 98. That makes me feel so much better about Spencer Strider in this spot. That's the kind of stuff that you want to be paying attention to when you start to have these tiebreakers where it's like, oh, my data doesn't completely love it, but now I can make this an official play. I feel really confident about it because if you use the 6-game sample size for Spencer Strider, it's not going to look as good. If you use last game with that velocity change, it looks fantastic to get Atlanta at just -130. I think it's a broken line. I think we're going to get CLV on it. And that's all she wrote. In our last play, only 3 plays. Again, a prop, a play. But I hope you get more information just talking through some of the double headers, some of the things you can take advantage of. Hard to do a little bit the night before. And I know you really want me to, and I really want you to too, because I know you're watching me or listening to me the night before, or as you're coming home from a late shift or, waking up and going to work the next morning. You want to have some plays locked in the chamber. Let's get thinking though. And here's the reason that I think this is an asinine number on the 10.5. We have a 10.5 available to us that we're going to take an under on. And I get it. This is a ballpark that I've just been jamming overs on, but now has come the overcorrection. Even though we are looking at a really hot game environment, again, north of 90 degrees at first pitch, Colton Gordon, southpaw, 100 WRC plus for the Oakland Athletics here. So league average there. And it's a team that's doing some really weird stuff with their lineups. I'm not sure if they're trying to get prepped up to move anybody or what's going on. Max Muncy gets 2 at-bats and then pulled for Urias the other night. Now Urias is in the lineup. They have Schneemann, who's going to be leading off here tonight. Just ridiculous stuff. Or Schneemann's on Cleveland. Schumann is the leadoff hitter for Oakland tonight, or for the Athletics, the nondescript, not city. The Sacramento Athletics doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. But the other guy on the other side, Jacob Lopez, he has been a breakout for the Oakland Athletics. He is a lefty who has extreme fly ball pitches, but a 30% hard hit. I think he has a great chance of success, even against a very righty-heavy Houston squad. They have a 137 WRC plus against lefties. They look ridiculous. That's the highest in all of baseball, but he does such a good job of limiting the hard contact, and we're getting 10.5 as the opening number. We have a pretty decent bullpen if he can keep things in check. Now, they've been terrible, and that's the reason that they have the losing record they do, but their winning side of the bullpen, the Mason Millers of the world, if you can come into that with just 2 or 3 allowed, I feel really good about our chances under 10.5. That's what I want you to take with you here, even though it would seem as though we would want to be invested in some overs. Byron Buxton just hit a leadoff home run for my Twins. They're playing baseball in Cincinnati. I cannot believe the weather everywhere here. Under 10.5. Pay attention to the weather tomorrow. Hit me up at Eric Lindquist on X if you have any questions. That's the handle. Let's get out of here. And that does it for a crazy sparse edition of MLB Lindy's. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this slate. I don't want to give you too thin of plays the night before. I really don't want you to overinvest anything in your bankroll that I'm not completely confident in. So that's 3 plays, 2 that are officially in here. We'll take a look at Barger tomorrow, but lean like that is definitely going to be going on the card in some capacity. He looks too good at his presumed numbers against Ryan Nelson. Pay attention to those doubleheaders. That's going to be where we really can make some hay tomorrow. So pay attention to that. And quit listening to me saying paying attention, because that's annoying. Thank you, producer Jacob. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lundquist. Best of luck on a double-header-laden version of MLB Lindy's on Thursday, or just the slate on... I'm done talking. It's been a long day. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Thursday.